Hello, once more time. My name is Jokubas Vaisvila. I am HVAC engineer, as well BIM application engineer in AGACAD company. I'm certified Autodesk Revit professional in Lithuania. I'm a teacher, lecturer of BIM software and BIM technologies. And just really shortly about my company. So we are AGACAD company. We're developing software for Revit, and it is based on users' needs. So today I will show you one example, one of our customer example that is special kind of for you. We're reducing BIM stress. How we do that? We just eliminate tasks that do not create value from the workflows of design of the buildings, etc., etc. So basically, as I know, we have a widest range of applications for Revit. It has lots of stuff. It has MEP stuff. It has structural stuff. Some BIM applications to browse the libraries, etc. But I don't want to go deeper into this, and I just want to mention what kind of software was under my supervision. So we made some fire sprinklers. We made some cut openings to make openings in buildings automatically where MEP stuff is clashing with structures. We made some MEP hangers just to connect the pipes, ducts, cable trays, conduits to the structure to be whole. Everything is in BIM applications. Our heating to distribute heating systems, and smart diffusers just to add extra data to Revit elements, and some navigation of BIM, and the last one is Ventmaster Revit importer. This is why I'm here. Your colleagues saw my video on the LinkedIn, and they just contacted me and said that it should be interesting for you guys. So that's why I'm here. But first of all, I would like to introduce you a bit with the BIM technologies. What is the BIM concept? How do I understand the BIM concept? I will give some examples on ventilation information models, like on building information models. As well, I will show you the exact product that we made for our customers, and we will try to cover some things about you. If you're going to build something on BIM environment for yourself, what kind of information should you know not to spend too much money on that, or not to do the things that do not create value. So first of all, what is BIM? So the purpose of BIM is to give the information, the right information, to the right person at the right time. I usually understand the BIM as the combination of all the building needed information. The information for design, the information for just for time, information for quality, information for building site, etc., etc. So you have to collect all the needed information into one place, like the BIM is doing. We're not doing that on the CAD platforms, Excels, Words, and just collecting somewhere. We're having a database of whole information in one file, and we call it BIM. So, if to be exact, what every letter in BIM means. So B stands for building, since it's about the technology, about the building structures and about the building. For me, the I letter is the key thing in these three letters, because I stands for the information that should be inputted into the models. So we decide what kind of information we want to input into the model. So you decide, the designers decide, the builders decide. Everybody is putting their information into the same model. And the last one, the M letter, stands for three things. It's modeling, so maybe it's designing, so the process of the BIM. The exact model, the information database, the model, and the management. After you build your model, you can take any information from there. So you can manage all the constructions. You can manage all the logistics from the BI. Yeah. So let's go a bit deeper into your stuff, into the ventilation system. So what do the engineers need? As I told you, we have different actors. So at the moment, I'm speaking about engineers, the drafters, the designers, who are making the model. So they need elements. They need ducts. They need duct fittings, duct accessories, mechanical equipment, air terminals. Like they need those elements to place into the model, to write some data about that, or just to place that element into the model with all the needed data inside. But nowadays we are missing information in the BIM software. Like we're getting only generic ducts, generic duct fittings, no name, I mean, with no data, just generic, and the engineer couldn't perform any of the calculations without any input into the software. So what they do need, the exact needs of the engineers are branded ducts, branded elements, branded fittings, branded air terminals, etc., etc. So basically, I think that this is the branch that you can be involved into the BIM process, as you are the manufacturers of the air handling units, different stuff for ventilation. So we, as the engineers, we need that from you, and because we can make mistakes while writing something by ourselves, etc., etc. Just few examples I would like to show for you of the BIM models. I'm working on Autodesk Revit environment, and I just have few of them. So basically, the first one is a little one, and it is made from generic models. Let's open the nice UV for you. What do I mean generic? If I just click on the element on the right side, I see some information about my element. Right here, the engineer is putting some data, like the flow that is needed, the pressure drop, etc. But there is nothing about you. There is nothing information about the documentation, about the installation, etc., etc. I have one more project that was created in Lithuania. So this was created under our control. So this is a little not very little, but a shopping center, shopping mall, and all the elements has special information. So if I would scroll here, you will see how much information people are looking for. Like starting from the design, they fulfill just the information they should do. So they fulfill some system. They fulfill the mass of the element. They fulfill even the manufacturer of the element. What kind of element we would like to purchase, and just the information about that. So it's the code which could be sent to our quantification systems in Lithuania, and then they can calculate the amount of money they need for the project. So this kind of information is needed. Let's jump to the Netherlands. I got one project from the Netherlands, and they are doing kind of the same. They are trying to write the information. We're trying to classify. The elements. Just everybody could understand that. So as I told you, everything is written inside of these models. So it's the database of the information. I'm going back to my presentation. So you should understand that we don't need lots of from you. We don't need lots of from you. We need just information we need. So as I told you, we need just exact things. As example, as the HVAC engineer, I just need main geometry of the building. I need the maintenance area. I need to know what kind of the parts are inside of the element. As well, I need the symbology, like the other information after could be just printed out just some papers that are printed, not 3D, but just 2D, just to understand what kind of parts we have. From the BIM side, I don't think that we will produce that element from the BIM model. You have your own you have your own software where you design your special elements, where you design your inner elements, outer elements, the shapes, etc. And we just need to know the size of it. We should know where some elements are located. We don't need very detailed, very deep models. As well, we need the connectors geometry, where and what kind of ducts, pipes, electricity we are connecting to the element. So in my case, I have 4 connectors there. I think from that side, you can see the pipe connectors, electricity, etc. So again, we need diameter, we need height and width. Just to make sure, if you're going to involve into the BIM, you shouldn't create too detailed elements. As example, as I told you, you wouldn't make the real thing. It's not for manufacturing. It's just for design. So we don't need the inner things. We don't need. Like, it could be written that we have some details inside. We have such and such ventilator. We have such and such thing. We have such and such filter. But we don't need to make it. We don't need too detailed items. I mean, if you will ask some company to create your library for BIM, and they will do such detailed things like I have a sink, and inside of the sink I have a flex pipe that is modeled there. So it do not create value for you guys, because you will pay for that money, and I don't need that, because it's too detailed. So you have to think about the level of detail that your customer will need for each of the elements. Again, I think at this position, I think that I need this connection. I need the connection to the wall, to some structures, but I don't think I need the bolts. And to model the bolts, that take time. To model each of the bolts inside of your element. Let's jump to the level of information. Again, the level of detail is a bit different than level of information. We can be just divided in 2 pieces. The level of detail is one thing, the level of information is another thing. So you know what kind of information your customers need, what kind of flow data, what kind of geometrical data, what kind of load data, electrical data, or just sound data, connection data, etc. So don't put too much. I had one example, but I don't want to show it today because it wouldn't be so nice the view. So I found on the internet the family, I mean the element that had, I don't know, like 500 of the parameters. And then I opened it, I just closed that and deleted that because it's too much of information. You have to think about the exact information. We don't need lots of the things to design our buildings. We just need the main data, the main airflows, min-max, the speed, the pressure drop, etc. But we don't need, I don't know. There was like a bunch of the parameters that I would never use. So I just struggled in between and I just deleted it. If I would need extra, but extra mean where to buy, maybe, where to send, what will be what kind of logistics I will use. So I can create my own parameters in your elements. I can use. So just for the beginning, I need your data, and afterwards I will figure out my stuff by myself. What should you input just to make sure that you're doing business? Like if you create the families, I mean elements, it's nothing still because the families don't have information about you. So you have to input your own data into the families just to be known in a BIM field. I mean, you have to write all your data. You have to write the model. You have to write the company, the product URL. You can add any HTTP to the elements just to click one click, and they will get all the product information from the internet. So you don't have to write everything inside of the element. You can just apply one URL code and we will get all needed information from there. Just my thoughts about this thing, like the price, unique product code, where to buy, maybe phone number. Just my thoughts. About the price we can argue because you can sell your products in different regions and the products have different prices. So maybe that's not good. Unique product code. It's really good for your customers because they can just send you an email and say, I need this one, and you just get the pricing for him. Where to buy, I don't know, that could be the same URL or just something like this. We have one example of AHU, family creator in Revit. So we met some kind of hard things to figure that out because all the AHU are different depending on the building. So we can't make 100 of elements. Like I have 100 diffusers. I can make them. I can publish it on internet, and everybody will be using them. But at this point, we met the problem that if we input some data, the sizes, the inner elements, they are varying every time. So we had to think a new way of generation of the elements. So we made a product to import families, I mean elements from selection software into the Revit. So we do the importation, we transfer all the geometrical data, we transfer all just parameters, and we have that in our Revit. So on the left side we have a selection software, on the right side we have Revit software. I'm jumping back to my Revit and I'll try to show you live how does it look like. Okay, so going on the roof. As you can imagine that we are having all our needed data inside of the BIM model. So for the selection of the AHU, we need the flow, we need some I don't know, some pressure drops, etc. So we can find that on our BIM model. Afterwards, what we did, we just did the importer that can import different kinds of elements. So we can choose from units, air extract, air supply, heat recovery units, etc. So that depends on what you have, and it doesn't matter really what kind of the elements you have, but I think we can create them automatically if they do not have really hard shapes, really awkward shapes. If they are just kind of understandable in geometry, if you can write the geometry by code of this element, we can create it out there. So here we just write some data about our unit. So I think all of you have something like this. So I don't want to go deeper here, and we just programmed the export to Revit functionality. So I can choose any of the elements. So I can add filters, I can add extra filters, I can add heaters, calorifers, etc., etc. in this software. And afterwards, I can just drag all the data about geometry and inner parameters. So I didn't show the parameters, but you can see like we have airflows, we have pressure drops. Somewhere I think we have min-max airflows, etc., etc. So it is exporting that data. It is done, and we are going to Revit, and we are importing that. So, okay. Yes. So we have this kind of element. What kind of data? So we decided that the manufacturer, we decided what kind of data we would like to see. So we would like to see the electrical data. We would like to see all the dimensions. As you can see, we divided it into different sections for supply, exhaust, return sections. As well, we have some sound information of the element. We added some information. We added some information about the mechanical flows. I mean, the mechanical flow, supply, airflows, pressure drops, and etc. And the last thing, as I told you, we inputted the data about the manufacturer of this unit. So we just put it some URL codes. We put it the offer number if it's needed. We put it the product name, weight, etc., etc. If the customer need, he can still add some extra data to this family. So what's then? We have the family, so we can connect it to our system easily. If the system is changing, we can do updates of our elements. So I will align, just go to the section. So I have this. I'm just drawing. I'm just connecting the elements to it. So my ductwork is connected. It will change the color because it was connected to one system. Afterwards, I will connect the second one. It will change the color again because it has two systems. I can go back to my 3D view, and still I can draw some elements from here. And go on. Yeah, so that is the technology to drag the information from one software to the BIM software, and basically we did that for different elements, not only such elements, but as well I can open a really easy one. Just here extract unit that consists from one element. We can just choose one of these. We can change the parameters again. I would export it to Revit again. Okay, it's done. I'm going back. I'm just inserting this one. So we got again the element that was generated. So there is two different ways to create these elements. For example, if you have your own elements like this, like all the ventilators, all the filters, the heaters that are created in Revit, so we can collect them in a needed sequence, just to place first element, second element, third element, fifth element. Or in this case, we generated the whole unit for ourselves just by extruding the elements. Yeah, so that's all. Like examples. Yeah, but the thing I think for you, it's sales. You want to sell that, and I think if you created the families, the elements for BIM software, that's not all. That doesn't mean that you will sell more. That doesn't, because I'm from Lithuania. We usually do some cheating or somewhere, and if I take the family from the internet, I can just delete your name, and I can just write something else instead of your company name, instead of your URL, etc. So just the things to think about. If you will create your library, you pay money for the library, and you want to get the feedback, ROI from that. So just really simple things. Just don't forget to add the mandatory registration for getting all the elements from your server, from your website. I was thinking about tool to track your customer. I mean, he has the possibility to connect to some cloud solution, to the cloud, and download your element to the exact project, and then you get the data that that customer, that date, that location downloaded that element, and you can just send to him the pricing of your elements. The last thing, again, I was thinking about the tool to communicate with your customers through the BIM model. So we can add extra button to some tools just to drop the email straightly to you and to calculate the pricing, and you will just click back and it will get back to the model. It's really interesting because lots of the people are missing the prices inside of the models, and they should do the quantification and the pricing. They should think how much their building will cost, and if that will be included into the software, so that will be easier for the customers, and I think they will come back to you. So that was my short just information about BIM and the technology that we have created. If you have any questions, this is the best time to do that.
AGACAD, building BIM together.